Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are having a great day. So somehow it is March favourites and fails time, and I don't know how that happened, but it did. And actually we're a little late because, as you guys know, I've moved into my new space, so I had to use my videos that I had pre-filmed in my old space just to allow continuity for you guys. I didn't want to switch back and forth. Once I'd moved here, I want to stay here for the rest of my days. I don't want to be hopping back and forth and confusing you. So it is what it is. We're a couple of days late, and you know how I feel about lateness. It's not my favourite, but we're here now and that's what matters. So let's get started with March faves and fails. So first up, these are the Japonesque brushes that I picked up from TK Maxx. If you did not see my TK Maxx haul, you've missed out because there was some serious bargains in that video, and this was by far the one that I am now the most happy with. I didn't really know how excited to be at the time because I'd never tried Japonesque brushes before, so I knew it was a bargain. I knew they were a lot cheaper than they were you know, if I wanted to buy them from a website or whatever, but until I used them I didn't know quite what a win it was. But let me tell you, this one, which is the powder brush, changed my whole life. Changed my life. I like to use this for bronzer. It's really helped me kind of calm down my bronzer application because it's just so soft and fluffy. It does take a lot of building up to use it on sort of lighter to medium bronzers, but if I use it with like a darker bronzer, it stops me getting too carried away. I also like using it just for powder because, again, it's just really soft and light, so it doesn't pick too much up or, you know, distribute too much. You can sweep away bake with it. It's very versatile and it's just a lovely brush. It has shed a few little hairs on me, but you know, sometimes when you have a new brush it does that while it's just settling down any kind of loose brushes, bristles, sorry, from the manufacturing process. So I'm hoping that's kind of going to stop now, but yeah, really obsessed with this brush. And then these two came in a little duo, like face brushes. This is a like cream brush, so I use this with cream bronzer like my Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel, and also cream or liquid blushes. This is really nice, and highlight as well, cream highlight. I mean, it does it all, and it's beautiful and works perfectly with all of those cream formulas. This brush, I believe, is actually a highlight brush, which I do like it for highlight, but I've been using it for contour. It's really nice on the nose also, so yeah, big fan. Probably won't be my last Japonesque brush haul, I wouldn't have thought, and I do keep checking my TK Maxx and no more have appeared, so that's extremely sad, but I will keep looking. So next up, we've got a few blushes. It's been like the month of blush, I guess, because we're moving into spring. I mean, I always wear blush, but I've kind of been changing the blushes I've been reaching for a little bit because you know, new season, new me, if you will. So first up, this is MAC's Fairly Precious, and this is an extra dimension blush, so it is a very glowy blush. When you see it in the pan, and even when you swatch it, to be fair, you might be a bit like, holy moly, that's a highlight. You can just see it's just a very soft on me. Really fair skin tones will do well with this, but when you blend it in to your skin, it loses a lot of the sort of real shimmer and becomes just very glowy. And I use this on days when I don't want to go in with highlight. I just want to, like, maybe if I'm going to work or something, I'll use this on its own without highlight, and it does both jobs for me. It's very pretty. You know, you can never, on my skin tone, you can never do too much with it because it is just very soft of a colour. The opposite end of that spectrum, this is the Anastasia blush palette in the shade Berry Adore, and this is again something I picked up in my TK Maxx haul. It's got two berry tones and then one that's a real wild card because it is basically an orange shade, I would say. So I have to use these very lightly. They are very pigmented. I picked this up thinking, you know, I don't have these shades in my collection, and it was half price in TK Maxx, and also going into summer, a lot of the blushes I use right now won't really do as much, or they won't do what I want them to do come summer. I'm also going on holiday really early on this year, like in May, so my tan will come much quicker than it even normally would. So I really wanted to have some deeper blushes because you know me, I like a blush. I like a decent blush. And once, you know, I'm tanned, lots of my kind of these types of blushes will not show on me. So I wanted to have some deeper ones. They look really lovely blended together. They blend really nicely. They're very easy to use softly as well. So if you're really terrified, and bear in mind when you touch that with your brush, if you look at your brush, it is, you want to tap that off. Do not apply. Do not pass go without tapping off, because that is how you have a day of regret. Those have more of a sort of matte satin type finish, but they still look very natural and luminous on the skin. And my last blush of the month, which has been definitely a sort of rediscover for me, is Nars Madly. An absolute classic. And I know I've talked about this one before, and I'm sure it's probably been in a favourites many moons ago. I really haven't reached for it at all for a long time, and then I just don't know what made me pick it up. I think it was maybe, it's a perfect like evening out blush. You know, when you've done a lot with your eyeshadow, maybe you've got a bold lip and you just want a hint of something on the cheek. This is what I've got on today. It's just a hint of peachiness, a hint of like a neutral blush. It's got a beautiful finish, definitely a favourite, definitely one I can only wear kind of now, but on lighter skin tones, again, it's just really easy. You don't have to think. It goes with every eye or lip look that you could ever dream of doing. It's just a very easy, you know, plays well with others kind of blush. So next up, let's do lip products next. So I've got two lip products of the month. The first is this MAC lipstick from their, I want to say something about art library or something about an art or a library. So it's, you know. It's called Down to an Art. I don't know if these are permanent, but if they aren't, I need 10 more, because this is the lip I'm wearing today, and it has quickly become my go-to everyday nude. It's just perfect. It's dark enough, but not too dark. It's got a slightly peachy tone to it, which you know I love. It goes with everything. It's a matte, but it's a very creamy, you know, MAC does matte lipstick formulas very well, but some of them are better than others, and that is the dream MAC matte formula. Next up, this is a Bobbi Brown lipstick. I think this is my first product, like non-skincare product from Bobbi Brown ever, as far as I can remember. There's no reason, I don't have a vendetta against Bobbi Brown, but just they rarely excite me with stuff, you know. So I tried this after seeing it on someone on Instagram. I can't actually remember who it was. I think it was, I can't remember. I will link their Instagram down below. But I saw this on, I think it was Melly Sophia maybe on Instagram, and it just looked glorious. And I was like, I have to have it. So this is their crushed liquid lip in the shade Mango Mood. And it's, I mean, when you first see it, you're like, ooh, it's quite intense. But then you can just see how I applied it then. It can just, I like to tap this in the middle of like a line, and you can see actually, if you just use it with your finger and you blot it on, you get a much more subdued, peachy, glossy lip. They're really long lasting. It's not a drying down liquid lip. It stays like glossy, but not sticky and not heavy, and it just applies beautifully, and they last really long. They kind of work a bit like a stain, so they stay on for, you know, a good while, but they're completely comfortable. There's no drying down, so they don't dry out your lips, which is, I would love to buy every single shade of those. I love the formula. So next up we have a little skincare sample that I got from I think it was like my birthday gift from Space NK. This is the Drunk Elephant A-Passioni Retinol Creme. I think it's how you say it. So I got this in a sample. This is a really good sample. It's a 5 ml sample. So when it's retinol and you want to use a pea-sized amount as the guideline for this product, it's lasted me. I've been using this for probably 2 weeks, because also when you start using it, it is a very strong retinol in here. So you only want to use it once every few days until you're sure your skin is not going to just fall right off your face. So yeah, that's what I did. So this has lasted me 2 weeks. I've also got like 3 others of this. to use. So I'm not sure at the moment that I would buy the full size because it is very expensive, and I'm not really an expensive skincare kind of girl. I just can't get excited about, you know, dropping 60 quid on skincare. I know it's backwards. I say it to my husband, I was like, in general you'd think you should spend more on your actual skin rather than on putting stuff on top of your skin, but that's not how I work. It's just not what excites me. But yeah, I'm really trying to consider how I feel about this, because it has certainly been the most effective retinol I've tried in comparison to like my ordinary retinol, which is the other ones I've tried. It's much more powerful. So I never really got any kind of real sensitivity or anything like that from my ordinary like retinols, which is a good thing. Obviously you don't want necessarily to have sensitive skin, but at the same time it's kind of showing you that it's not that strong, because I'm not having, even though I first started using it and never used retinol before, I wasn't really getting any response unless I used it every day from the beginning, in which case even then it was just slightly sensitive. Whereas this, I used this a couple of times to begin with, like once every couple of days, and I definitely felt a bit of sensitivity even though I was being very careful, and I built up, and it's definitely powerful, pungent. So if you have sensitive skin, you'd have to go very, very slowly and very, very careful, like maybe even start like once a week or once certainly every few days, and then just wait and see for a few days before you build up to a more regular use. But now I can use this every other night at the moment, and all I get is maybe I feel slightly sensitive or whatever. But it's just nice for me to know that it's working. I also think the issue I have with my ordinary retinol is that you have to unscrew it and open it, and obviously retinol is apparently very affected by, like, you know, like air going in there. So every time you open it and then get the dropper out and then, you know, put the dropper back in, more and more air is going in there and messing up the product. I'm not a scientist. It's just what I've heard, and I definitely feel like it stops working after like a few weeks, and I'm only sort of like 2/3 the way through the bottle. It starts to have that funny smell, that apparently means it's no longer really fully working. Whereas this, because it has like that screw cap and you're only, you know, the stuff that comes out is the only stuff that's touching the air, I feel like it's going to be more effective for longer. But I really enjoyed this. I think it's very effective. It's just whether personally for you you're willing to drop the coin on it or not. I'm not sure yet. But one thing I am willing to drop the coin on is this bad boy. This is the Rodial Diamond foundation. If you missed my review on this, I highly recommend you check it out. Lots of you had never heard of this brand, I think, but I guess because it's a smaller, more niche UK based brand, it's perhaps harder to find in other parts of the world. I 100% recommend you getting a sample of this, which is easy by just emailing them. That's what I did. I went onto their website and it said, please email us if you're not sure of your shade for a sample. So that's what I did, and my life has changed. It was very hard for me to find a shade, so I had to go back and forth between lots of shades. This is shade 2, which is what I've got on today, and it is like a really good match for me currently. And then I also picked up the shades 4 and 5 for my summer skin, because I'm not really sure, it's hard for me to guess what my summer skin will be when I'm not there yet. So I got 2 shades that I can maybe mix or whatever for the summer. That's how much I love it. I'm really struggling to use anything else at the moment. It's just so flattering on the skin. 2 pumps is a full coverage for your whole face, but yet it still looks very natural, skin-like, glowy. Just, it's so good on my texture, my lines and wrinkles, whatever, to like anything, any less than perfect areas. It sits nicer than any foundation I've tried, and it is just glorious. I'm obsessed with it. It is probably, unless something changes, my all-time favourite foundation, and I am, yeah. The only thing I have to say about it that is in slightly negative at all is that the shade range is a real struggle, and especially I think at the fair end of the spectrum. I've not had many people feed back to me on the deeper end, so I'm not sure how deep it runs and what those deeper undertones are like. But I have heard from lots of you that who are fairer than me that there isn't a shade, basically. So that is a real shame. But that is the only negative that I could tell you about it, is that there are only 9 shades. So it's obviously going to be hard for lots of us to find a perfect match. So for fails this month, I don't always do fails, you know, I am quite considered in my purchases, and so I don't have a lot of outright fails. There's stuff that is just okay, or it's not my favourite, that doesn't really make it a fail. But this month we've got a full-on fail, like I don't even know what to tell you about it, and that is the Natasha Denona concealer. This is the Transfix Matte Concealer. Apparently this got accidentally released early on Cult Beauty for a few days, and I picked it up in that time, and it's now gone off of the website. I've contacted Cult Beauty because it was so bad. I feel like there must be something wrong with it. Like, I feel like this can't be what they meant to do. So something, I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe when it's hard, because at the moment I feel like I think I'm the only person who's reviewed it, so it's hard. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it hates my under eyes. Maybe it's not made for people over 30. I don't know. Maybe other people will try it and tell you it's the best concealer of their life. But I'm going to tell you it's the worst of my life. It's the worst concealer I've tried. I think that I remember trying on YouTube, and it's expensive. It's £26, I think. It doesn't cover that well. It's like a medium coverage. It wouldn't blend. It dries like before I've even, you know, I've put it on, trying to blend it out, and it's already dried and it won't move. It doesn't blend. It looks cakey. It creases. It exaggerates lines. It's just, it's the devil. It's the devil in concealer form. I don't like it at all. I haven't even braved trying it again, because it was so bad. I tried it twice in that review because I had to wipe it off because I didn't know what was happening, and put it back on. And since then I've just not really wanted it to go anywhere near my face. So I guess on a day I am going to try it again, just because it costs £26. So I feel like in some way I've got to use it somewhere. It's not even something that I would use on my eyes to prime my eyes for shadow, because it, you know, it sort of caked and separated and wouldn't blend, so I feel like it's only going to ruin my eyeshadow as well. So yeah, I have contacted Cult Beauty for a response as to why it's gone off the website. If it is a quality issue, then I want my money back. I mean, I want my money back anyway, but in the UK we don't do money back on makeup. So the only way they're going to refund me is if there is a problem, and that's why it was recalled. But I don't think that's the case. I think it was just released early, in which case I'm very happy that I was able to prevent you guys from wasting your money on this, because I just don't think it's good at all. So there you have it. Those are my favourites for the month of March, and one very big fail. Let's hope that in April we only buy good makeup. Only good makeup happens to us as a team. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love to see you in a future one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.